Especially during these times of exceptional disruption and uncertainty, it's imperative that you keep an eye on the external world and important disruptive trends that will have an impact on your business. As always, you can reach me by calling the cell number above or by sending me an email or visiting my website.
So the great opportunities that this huge disruption have unearthed are really trends that were underway. It's really just pushing certain trends further. The obvious one being mobility and the center of the home being more and more the center of all activity, not just living, raising children and so forth, but also obviously for work and for commerce. Then there's the mess with the healthcare system, and that, of course, throughout all of COVID, we kept coming back to that. Something has got to change. The healthcare system is broken beyond belief, and people know that, but the politics in Washington have precluded doing anything major beyond the Obama Act, which was great, but we're not there yet. Real estate, how we conceive of workplaces, all that commercial space that may not be needed anymore. I was talking to someone the other day about malls. Anchor tenants such as Sears and Nordstrom's, Macy's are all closing stores. That means that your anchor tenants at a mall, which is what makes the mall viable because of the amount of space and the customers it attracts, if they're not there, what happens to malls? I said it could be great retirement communities. First floor, you got all your shops, and on the second floor, you have luxury or nice condos. And
that is a great idea.
The weather is always very good, but that's going to be a significant transformation as an example. But real estate, the whole concept of real estate is changing because the home being now more of a center. Do we need all that space? Companies are discovering ways to do hoteling, which we've been doing in consulting for quite a while. But now companies are adopting that. Telecommunication, working at home is becoming, as we said, the last 3 months, everybody's gotten better at it. What is the commercial space in the future going to look like? What does this mean for a city like New York City, which is very, very commercial, but manufacturing's gone. Now a lot of the services could be done from home or not in a space. So these are all trends that were underway that COVID and other disruptions have really just pushed in the immediacy of the changes that have to happen. Interestingly enough, the financial system, which was broken in 2008 and was highly disrupted then, and as a form of disruption became more regulated as it should be, it's actually pretty sound. It's amazing how the stock market, the stock market has rebounded. So it just goes to prove once an industry or a company or whatever entity is disrupted and you have to focus on fixing the problems, usually that transformation is sustainable. And that's the great hope I have for this major disruption, is that the transformation will touch many, many areas that were dysfunctional or currently are still or needed change, and that, keep your fingers crossed, the great transformation will start when, well, it's already sort of starting in some cases, but will begin to gain in velocity in the years to come.
So you said a lot of interesting things there, but one of them was how, these trends were already on the way. Like you said, I mean, we always see these patterns. You can start to see it. Stores were closing before this, but I think it almost was like that catalyst that they was like, well, why wait? You could move a e-commerce store online so much more affordable for them than to be carrying these big buildings like, Nordstrom and some of the ones that you mentioned. And we've been watching them for years. But I think you're right. It's going to kind of change even the landscape of when you're driving in your car, what you're seeing and how people are just operating. But
or even whether you're driving that car.
Yeah, I think, and that's where I think Uber's going to pivot to kind of stay in the game, is to maybe self-driving cars. And then again, that the spill off of that changes a whole bunch of other dynamics. But most interesting, I keep going back to, like, I do better working at home because if I'm distracted, then it takes me a while to kind of get back in the groove of what I was doing. So I find that I'm much more productive when I work at home. And I've heard a lot of other people say it, and I've seen it on the news. The IRS reported like a higher production rate. So, there it is. The data is there saying that people are being more productive. There's not as much time wasted. But I just keep thinking that with that lack of human connection, that creativity or that brainstorming, you use that technique a lot with your clients. I mean, that's got to suffer a little bit.
Yeah, well, there's something that I always refer to as the serendipity of business. In other words, the opportunity that comes about by chance meeting, or something that's being discussed, someone overhears it, and suddenly something goes click. And it can be as small as a coding issue or a product feature, but it can be huge. It could be, the idea. And that really, the big idea, that really comes from human interaction face to face. It certainly can happen virtually. It happens a lot by reading and watching the news and other things, listening to podcasts. But really, the moments that are true ahas and result in a positive change, transformation, do tend to come from encounters, and often it's random. And I've heard people say literally they found their business by accident, by sitting next to somebody in an airplane and they started talking. So that's the part that suffers a little bit. But productivity is always good. It's easy to measure. Wall Street reacts favorably to it. But the innovation part is just as important.